Florence. It's a name I'll never forget. It was about 1972. I was working in the acute psychiatric unit of the old Lincoln Hospital, located in the area of Bronx known as Fort Apache at the time. So those of you who know, Bronx, New York, and Fort Apache, highest crime rate in the country, I think, at that point, or at least one of the top in crime. And we had an experimental psychiatric unit. And Florence was a new admission. We had a double door after she was admitted through the emergency diagnosis of allowing her in for 10 days for an evaluation. And she had been apparently burning herself with, I think, cigarettes, little burns all over her body. And her daughter brought her to us. And so when you open the double doors, you see a big living room. And you see little dining room tables and chairs and a kitchen off a little bit to the corner where you can bring the food from the dining department down in the hospital part. And they would deliver it. And people would sit and eat there. We would talk there. And then we had private rooms. And the private rooms were 1 bed per room, 12 rooms off to the left down the hall. And this one unit. And to the right, we had a couple of rooms for the chief of psychiatry and the supervisor of nursing, and then a big room where we all met, the psychiatrist in training. And I would be in their weekly meetings. And so right then, I was sitting at my desk, which was right by the double doors of new entry. Florence was a new admission, but I was in the middle without computer, having to write everything on somebody I just worked with. So I was busy looking down, and I hear this woman, and I know she's walking back and forth because I can just peripherally see movement back and forth, back and forth. And so she's walking back and forth and saying, honky bitch, honky bitch, honky bitch. Pardon my language, but that's what she said. And so I'm thinking, oh God, she hates me already. And then I look up, and what I see, because she was a very black skin, probably in her mid 60s, somewhere in there. And I had briefly glanced at her chart before I did anything, but I kept writing because I had to finish. And I look up and I see something. So I jump up off the chair and I walk around the desk and I go, who's Celia? You see her? I go, yeah, I do. Oh, she's the honky bitch. A white blonde woman, long hair. Honky bitch, Celia. Ah, okay. Oh my God. She slept with your husband in my own bed and he threw me out. I said, where was this? And it was in the South, in another state. I said, well, how'd you get to the Bronx? My daughter. Her daughter had been married already, out of the house. Apparently the father was not the nicest person. And apparently Florence was frightened of him anyhow. Terrible stuff going on. So I'm going, oh my God. But it dawned on me what others thought was a hallucination was her trauma trapping her. Obsessed about what happened. She was possessed by what happened. And it was right in the area of the solar plexus. So for those of you who know chakras, for those of you who know energy fields, meridians, anything, willpower, solar plexus, will, or Ganesh. I love that idea of the solar plexus, the belt on Ganesh comes up to the heart, or the heart chakra. So I think it's interesting that her will was all focused on getting rid of Celia in her mind and burning Celia out of her, as if she could burn that image away. And instead, it kept surfacing because of that. Obsession is possession, I thought. Whoa. Well, Florence knew that I understood, and so we held hands. And we walked and we talked for 10 days. And when we were done, she was going to go home back to her apartment. And I said, Jose, wonderful guy, Jose, wherever you are, my love. He was a nurse's aide. And no, I think he was, sorry, I think he was a nurse. The nurse's aide was Lisa. So this goes way back. But Jose and I went and took Florence home. And I looked around her place and I saw a lot of saint statues in her apartment, in her bedroom, in the living room, and I think one even in the kitchen. So I said, is Celia still there in you? She said, not much. I said, but she's still there? Yes. So I looked around and I walked around and I picked up some of the small statues and I put them in a circle around her and one on the kitchen table because her chair was right by the kitchen table. A little table for two. And she had not been out of her apartment in 20 years. Her daughter and her son-in-law would bring her food, cook for her, do her wash with her, help her. So we knew she had to learn, and her daughter was more than willing to help. And we followed her for about a year. She relearned everything. But what I did then, the statues all around her, I turned and I said, Bubby Becky, my grandmother, who is on the other side many years since I was, I think, 17 or 18. And my favorite person, my hero, which I will talk about another time. She was my heroine. Hero, heroine, both. She was everything. And I said, Bubby, I know you will understand. Because I was culturally Jewish. I didn't grow up in my own family as my grandmother was. She was kosher home, maybe Orthodox, I don't even know, because we only saw her 2 weeks a year. So I don't know that part, but I do know what love does. And I knew that all these saints indicated something. And so I said, I want to help you oust Celia forever. And I put my hands on her head and I prayed in the name of Christ. And I spoke words that came to me immediately about all the love in the universe is flowing in and how the light that Christ brings into your heart and your mind is from God, delivered to you because you are a child of all the divine. And then whatever words I said in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. May you always be safe and feel whole. Know your soul and spirit is always present, lifting you up. And that was it. And she looked at me and she said, we're done. And so that's my Florence. And she forever remains as a guiding, a beacon of light for others because she taught me so much about, for my own life too. I don't know about you, but sometimes if I need to have something happen, I can be as nutty as they come about, I have to get it done. I have to get it done. I have to get it done until, no, don't, no more. And so she was and is one of my teachers. So Florence, I hope your journey across to the other side was beautiful and loving, and may you be with great wings of light and sweetness always. And may your family who took care of you, nurtured and supported you and loved you, your daughter, your son-in-law, may they too be as wonderfully filled with light as you. So before I close, by the way, in case you haven't read my books, I have a special contest until March 31st. And so it's a very simple one. And it is both are on Amazon, The Life of Psychic Detective and All Nature Speaks. If you get them before March 31st, read either one, both, whatever, and put a 5-star rating along with a written review on Amazon, and then email Nancy@nancywillenweber.com and just put a subject, free workshop contest. I give quite a few workshops, one a month, one subject a month. You can pick any one of them for the future of when you are available and I am doing that workshop. So whether you like medical intuitive work or animal communication or psychic detective work or soul whisperer, which encompasses the basic fundamentals of all of it, all of them help build your trust of yourself, help you distinguish between your imagination and your fears and your tuning in, and help you know that the power is always just a few steps away from where you are right now. Whatever and however you do it, we always are looking to grow, aren't we? So join me on one of the workshops if you want. I love doing them. I think the March one is Soul Whisperer. It's the one I began years ago, and I called it Sacred Soul Powers. But I love the term whisperer in today's world. We all know what that means. So I wish you all a very gentle day and peaceful night. Till we meet again. And oh yes, can you hit the subscribe button, please? That way you're always notified when I'm doing another one. And eventually I'll be doing some live ones. I really am done now.